Welcome to the Digital Moneta channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Loki. We actually started mining Loki back in early July 2018 after reading their white paper. And so let's go ahead and start with their white paper. The first thing we noticed with their white paper is it was actually a white paper very similar to the original Bitcoin white paper. It lacked all the marketing nonsense that you see in a lot of today's white papers being put out by a lot of the scam coins that are out there. So that was one of the first things we noticed about the white paper. And the next thing we noticed was that the Loki network was basically built off of the Monero source code and will allow Loki to provide transactions and communications privately and anonymously. And the way they plan to achieve this is via their service node network. Similar to properties of Tor, this private communication is facilitated by each service node acting as a relay to allow users to transmit and receive data packets anonymously. In addition, the Loki communication network will act as a backbone for a decentralized and end-to-end encrypted messaging service called Loki Messenger. And therefore, Loki is not only a private exchange, but a platform for decentralized and anonymous internet services. Now, a few of the elements that will actually make this possible are going to be ring signatures. Ring signatures basically work by constructing a ring of possible signers to a transaction, where only one of the signers is the actual sender. And that is how Loki will utilize ring signatures to obfuscate the true history of the transaction outputs. Another element of the Loki network will be stealth addresses. These addresses will ensure that the true public key of the receiver is never linked to their transactions. Now, in order to operate a service node, the operator time locks a significant amount of Loki and provides a minimum level of bandwidth and storage to the network. Currently, it looks like 45,000 Loki are going to be required, but over time they will adjust that number downward. And in return for their services, Loki node service operators will receive a portion of the block reward from each block. As miners, this is kind of the part of the white paper that interests us and potential future service node operators, is how that block reward was going to be distributed. And it appears that Loki will be distributing 45% of the block reward to the miner and 50% to the service nodes, with 5% going to governance. And so if we go ahead and scroll down a little further through the white paper, we come to the services that Loki will actually be offering. And the first one that they plan on launching will be Loki Messenger, which will be a decentralized end-to-end encrypted private messaging application. And while end-to-end encrypted messaging applications that provide a platform for users to send messages without revealing their contents already exist, they currently rely on centralized servers that can be targeted, blocked, and shut down. So leveraging the service node architecture of the Loki network, they plan to deliver a service similar to popular centralized encrypted messaging apps such as Signal, with a higher degree of privacy and censorship resistance. And if we take a look kind of at their example, it's kind of a simplified version, but basically the message would be routed through random service nodes to establish a path through the network. And then the next interesting service it looks like they'll be offering will be snaps. From what we can tell, snaps are somewhat similar to dApps, or decentralized apps. However, it looks like they'll be providing an even higher degree of anonymity that can be achieved when accessing external hosted content. It appears snaps will allow users to set up and host marketplaces, forums, websites, social media, and most of their internet applications on their own machines or servers while maintaining full server and user-side anonymity. This will greatly expand the scope of the network and allow users to build meaningful communities within LokiNet. And then the next service are the exit nodes. These nodes, if used correctly, appear to allow users to browse the internet privately and without the user's IP address being exposed to the server. And then the final service that caught our eye would be Blink. Blink works in a similar fashion to Dash's Instant Send. Via Loki's service node architecture, near instant transactions will be possible. So basically, users will have the ability to pay a higher fee to send a Blink transaction, which will confirm in seconds rather than in minutes. So this feature basically will open up a range of new use cases for Loki, where face-to-face payments become increasingly practical and online payments become easier to integrate. In addition, all of the privacy features inherent in Loki are uncompromised throughout the Blink process. You kind of start to ask yourself, well, how is this different than Dash or Monero? One of the ways that it's different than Dash, obviously, is they chose to be ASIC resistant. And they do actually plan on continuing some development on new algorithms for a long-term solution to ASIC resistance. Loki does not have a fixed block size. Instead, the block size changes over time, growing to include more transactions as the network reaches higher transaction throughput. And so in the long run, that's going to help them avoid a lot of issues we see other currencies, including Bitcoin, running into. As you go through this white paper, highly recommend you give it a thorough read. It's got a lot of great information about their project, and also something really important to point out on the white paper is that they constantly are adding revisions. At one point they were going to have another token called runes. It looks like they've eliminated that here in version 3 of the white paper. So it's not just important to read the current white paper. They seem to be doing constant updates as they discover better solutions for their project. And so with that, I think we're going to kind of jump over to the mining part of Loki and how we are switching some of our miners over to mine Loki. And so the first thing we needed to do was to get a wallet to mine to. So you basically just jump over to the Loki website, and they have pretty good instructions on how to go ahead and install the wallet. So we're not going to go ahead and run through that because they do a pretty good job of showing you how to install the Loki wallet. So after we had our wallet, the next thing we needed to do is find a mining pool. And so to find a mining pool, we visited miningpoolstats.stream. It actually gives you pretty good information on a variety of pools for Loki. Now, originally we were using lexor.tech, and you can see we were able to mine around 3,100 Loki using that pool. However, a little while ago, they actually went down for a pretty long time and had no mining activity whatsoever, and we were actually still pointed at it and it showed no activity. We weren't getting any rewards, but we have since switched over to Cryptonight, and they actually have a 0% fee. So we actually went ahead and switched over to Cryptonight to mine the Loki, and they've got a decent amount of miners over there right now. And again, the big thing, that 0% fee, we like to keep our costs as low as possible. And so you can see we are currently mining. We only have 2 rigs up and running over there right now. We just have these 2 rigs mining over there. We're going to start moving a few more over now that we are actually seeing payouts are hitting our wallet. And so we'll go ahead and take a look at how to connect to this particular pool. They have a few different locations. We are obviously in the US, so this is the pool that we will actually be using. You can actually set up a worker name as you saw before. And then they have, if you want a CPU, they've got a port for that. Mid-range, just a single GPU, or a rig. Now, we actually are using GPU rigs, so we actually use port 7733. So now we'll go ahead and jump over to Simple Mining, which is the software we use to manage all of our rigs. We have approximately 55 GPUs that are mining Loki and Monero. We actually are currently and then we have 1 rig currently mining Zen cache that we're going to go ahead and move over to Loki, since we have our Z9 ASIC miners mining Zen cache. So this will be the miner we're going to move over to Loki. So the first thing we would want to do is go to our rig groups. We're going to add a rig group, and then we need to find the miner that we want to use. And we actually want to go ahead and use XMR Stack. And then the version we're actually using right now, we don't use the 9.1 currently. We would actually have to do some changes to our miners, upgrade their software on the USB sticks. So we're actually using their CUDA 8 version. So we select that miner, and so we're going to go ahead and name that. Description, and then the selected miner is already selected, and then this is where you're going to need to put in your miner option. Now I'm just going to paste in the options. It's a little easier than trying to type that whole thing out, but I will show you kind of what all we have there. The currency is going to be Cryptonight Heavy, and then our pool is this address here, along with the port. And then the user is going to be your wallet address. And then so instead of putting a dot and your rig name under user, you will want to put your rig name under the password area. So then we'll go ahead and add that group, jump back to our rig list. And so then we're going to go ahead and change this rig over to Loki. So we tick the box here, click on assign groups, and that's going to be Bud Cache Loki. And you can reload or reboot anytime we're making a change from like one currency to another. We like to actually reboot it. We're not just making a small change. So we'll go ahead and reboot. Now that will take a moment. And if you want to check on the status of that actual reboot, you can jump over here to the console and click on that, and we can see that it's just starting to come online and starting to hash some souls. So we have successfully switched this over now to mine Loki when it was originally mining Zen. And so shortly we should see this hash rate start to appear on the pools. And so we'll take a look back at the pool and see if here shortly we should have a third worker showing up. And we can now see that the additional rig we added has finally just showed up. And so we now have 3 rigs over here mining Loki. And then the final thing we'll take a look at is Loki on coin market cap. Once you've mined some coins, you'll probably wonder, how do I cash out? Well, right now Loki is only really traded on Cryptopia and Trado. So you could use either one of these exchanges to go ahead and cash out. Now if we just take a jump back and look at the charts, when they first released, they were at a high of around 86 cents. When we started mining them back in early July, they were down around 23, 24 cents a Loki token. They actually dipped down into around the 13 cents, 14 cents range, and because of their launch of their mainnet and the projects gaining some steam, we've actually seen it rise as high as back up to 52 cents, and we've had a bit of a pullback to 48 cents. So that's kind of a little bit of market history on them. Definitely check out their social media sites. They're currently ranked number 272 on market cap. We feel strongly about the project, therefore that's why we're kind of prospecting and mining the coins. We are actually looking forward to like 2019 as the Loki Messenger gets released and the snaps actually start being available for people to add to the network. So at that point, we hope to see some pretty good growth in the value of the Loki tokens. But with that, I think I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Just wanted to introduce everybody to Loki. Real important you do your own research, your own homework. And with that, I'll wrap up this video. If you liked it, please spike us a like. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. Any comments, please leave them below. We try to respond to everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.